Hello gamers and nerds, it's China Video Games in the World and welcome to the weekly news. I hope that yesterday you had your happy Halloween and enjoyed your costume parties. So November is here and daylight savings has arrived. Not to forget that Thanksgiving is coming and winter is creeping upon us. And what is Thanksgiving? Football and a lot of overeating, to be honest. Okay, so let's start with the first news of this weekly news. The upcoming movie, Supergirl, is set to be released on June 2026, and it stars Millie Alcock as the titular character. This is the first Supergirl movie since 1984 which starred Helen Slater as a titular character, and a lot of people didn't like that movie very much, unfortunately. This movie, as you all know, is part of James Gunn's DCEU, and hopefully he doesn't screw this one up. Excuse me, DCU. Now, the main photography of the Supergirl movie supposedly wrapped up in May, but it turns out that reshoots were scheduled shortly after. According to Scooper, Daniel Richmond, cameras are currently rolling again for what will amount to 2 weeks of additional photography, and he believes this will be mainly to include scenes with Derek Cornsweet's Superman. According to recent reports from THR, Supergirl had a quiet screening on the Burbank lot with a select group of executives and a few members of James Gunn's trusted DC stable. The trade didn't reveal any details, but a couple of reliable scoopers have claimed to have heard great things about the movie, and we wouldn't be surprised if some first reactions begin to filter through over the next couple of weeks. In a recent interview, writer Ana Nogueira spoke about what attracted her to this rougher and grittier and edgier and funnier take on the character. She watched Krypton completely be destroyed. I was always like, I can't get my head around the version of the character that is so sunny. Millie Alcock will reprise her role as Kara Zor-El after making her DCU debut in the closing moments of Superman. Well, what can I say? I just hope that we can see a good Supergirl movie and they do not screw this one up. Try not to make it overtly humorous, it must be balanced. Well, when it's James Gunn, you all know there's going to be a lot of humor involved. When it comes to Supergirl movies, I remember watching a 1984 movie and it was meh, in my honest opinion. The Supergirl series, which starred Melissa Benoist as Kara Zor-El, was a good show at first, but each season had more downs than ups at times. I kind of lost interest after season 3, to be honest with y'all. The star of the MCU movie, Shang-Chi, Simu Liu, has blasted the notion of background actors being replaced by AI. There are people still debating about the use of AI in cinema, as there are some who are staunchly opposed to it, while others support it. Some support it because it's faster, easier, and a lot cheaper. I'm one of many people who is totally against it. Why? Because it makes art look so dull and half-assed. Kevin O'Leary, a Shark Tank investor turned actor, has said the following in support of AI. Almost every scene had as many as 150 extras. Those people had to stay awake for 18 hours, fully dressed, moving around in the background, not even always visible on camera, and it cost millions of dollars to do that. Tilly Norwell is an actor who's burst onto the scene. She's 100% AI. She doesn't exist, but she's a great actress. She can appear at any age, she doesn't need to eat, and she works 24 hours a day. The union is going out of their minds. I'd argue, for the sake of art, you should allow it in certain cases, and extras are a great use case. You can't tell the difference, just put 100 Tilly Norwells in there and you're good. Wow. It's obvious how his comments on AI have garnered a lot of backlash, and I highly disagree with him. Because AI takes jobs away from real people. Simu Liu said this on X. Sure, blame the extras making $15, $22 an hour, struggling to make a living, and not above the line people making multiple millions. Mr. Liu also said the following during an interview. First of all, I thought that take that I was responding to is a really dumb take. Particularly really tone deaf and out of touch, and also just kind of incorrect. The idea that these background actors who are making minimum wage are somehow the reason why movies are now costing too much, that's simply not true. This idea of replacing actors with AI, it's so antithetical to my development as an actor. I think if I was able to learn from that experience, then how many other people are doing the same? In depriving the world of background actors, you're also depriving people the opportunity to kind of pick up these skills. Film is such an artist medium, Liu continued. Of all the uses of AI that have come forth, replacing art is just, I feel like, the last thing that anybody wants to do with AI. I feel like art is art because it's human. It comes down to even the way that extras move, it all plays into the frame and it's all meaningful to the story. I really do feel like human beings are smart. I feel like when we see somebody in the background not moving like a human, we know. I feel like we could still tell the difference, at least right now. Replacing humans with AI doesn't make art better, it makes it dull and cheap. That's about all I can say about this. Man. Crash Bandicoot is the first mascot of PlayStation and defined 90s platforming in video games. It was developed by Naughty Dog, the very developer that brought you games like Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, The Last of Us Part 2, and the upcoming intergalactic Heretic Prophet. So now, this marsupial is spinning back to our lives on the small screen. Netflix is reportedly developing an animated series starring the genetically modified marsupial, though details are still scarce. What is known so far is that there is no release date, no plot details, not even a teaser image. It is only confirmed that the animated series is indeed happening. This franchise now belongs to Microsoft after its $69 billion Activision Blizzard acquisition and the studio behind some of Crash's best modern games, Toys for Bob, recently went independent and hinted at a possible partnership with Microsoft for future projects. Netflix has been adapting many video games to the small screen, and many of them were amazing, such as Castlevania, Arcane, League of Legends, Cyberpunk, Edge Runners, Devil May Cry, etc. Tomb Raider wasn't really that good, but what made me so happy during the summer was the announcement of a Splinter Cell animated series. I really wish that they made a new Splinter Cell game. That is one of the most amazing game franchises I have ever played in my high school years. Hopefully, Wild Brain, the studio behind the animation of Sonic Prime, can handle the animation of Crash Bandicoot. I just hope that they don't mess it up. You know, I've always said that when it comes to movies and TV shows, every generation has its trends regarding the field of entertainment. In the past, when it comes to the small screen, you had a huge variety of shows with diverse genres such as action adventure, sci-fi, comedy, drama, romance, and even horror as well. Then in the 2010s, most of it was superheroes, romantic comedies, and reboots. But hey, there were some great shows too, as well. Don't forget that. Except that some of them ended badly, like Game of Thrones. I think that video game adaptations are taking over nowadays, and like I said, we'll see whether video game adaptations will outshine superheroes, because Marvel and DC have a lot of cash and planned projects. And now for the main event of this weekly news, Super Sentai. Super Sentai is a long-running Japanese tokusatsu series that has been around for 50 years. This series would later become the basis for the 1993 TV series Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which became a worldwide phenomenon upon its premiere that year. The Power Ranger series have often used Super Sentai footage during fight scenes from shows that they have adapted. Since then, both series have spawned toys, movies, video games, and tons of merchandise as well. Now, there are reports indicating that the long-running Japanese series is coming to an end after 50 long years of being on the air. Number 1 Sentai Goes Yuger, which premiered in February of this year, is said to be the final installment of the famous Super Sentai series of tokusatsu programming. According to Kyoto News, the franchise, which launched in 1975, is coming to an end due to insufficient takings from related events, tying goods, and movie adaptations when compared with production costs. The final series runs until 2026. Yuki Kaji, the voice of Tegasword in the series, has stated that He has not received any official notice of the news. Super Sentai started in 1975 with Himitsu Sentai Gorenja, featuring 5 heroes dressed in red, yellow, blue, green, and pink, and the series was distributed overseas as 5 Rangers. The Super Sentai series became popular in the Philippines and other countries in Latin America. Then in 1993, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers premiered in the USA and was adapted from Kyoryu Sentai Jurenja. If Super Sentai does come to an end, then I guess that it's up to them to decide whether it ends or continues. There were many good Sentai shows that I just started, like Changeman, Turbo Ranger, Life Man. I also remember watching Jurenja, Abarenja, Time Ranger, Gokaiger, Gozaiger, and also anniversary special films like Turbo Ranger vs. Super Sentai, Ga Ranger vs. Super Sentai 199, etc. Now, if it does come to an end, then in the upcoming reboot of Power Rangers, Disney and Hasbro need to learn to start doing their own fighting sequences, and God forbid that they use AI, because that would totally suck. Power Rangers always use Sentai footage when the Rangers were morphed and fighting against monsters and foot soldiers like Putty Patrollers, Cogs, Cyclobots, Putrid Orcs, Kelsacs, etc. But now, it's time for them to stop depending on Sentai footage and start doing their own thing. It's too bad that Power Rangers never adapted Go Onger, Sioger, Lupin Ranger, Pat Ranger, all because of this 2-season policy that Neo Saban did. I still remember how Neo Saban dropped the ball with the legendary battle, but at least Dimensions in Danger was pretty good. And that's it for the weekly news. If you have something to say about this, then comment, like, subscribe, and go for it. This is China Video Games and the World signing off. See you next week. Bye.